time is precisely 6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Rumesh Piris. The headlines. 3 shipments of coal are scheduled to arrive in the country early next month. Samagi Janabalawege accuses the government of trying to postpone local government elections. United National Party says that the party expects to send educated individuals to local authorities. Over 701,331 tourists visited Sri Lanka between January to December this year. The experts committee completes the draft of the National Agricultural Policy. In news overseas, Serbia puts troops on high alert over rising tensions with Kosovo. In sports, Australia vs South Africa, David Warner hits double century before retiring with crown. Now the local news in detail. Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, says 3 shipments of coal are scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka on January 5th, 9th and the 16th. He mentioned this during a special media briefing convened today on the procurement of coal for the Lak Vijaya power plant in Norwich. He assured that existing coal stocks are sufficient until January 8th. He refuted claims that the government failed to commence the procurement procedure on time. Minister Wijesekara said the government hopes to keep the duration of power interruptions limited to 2 hours and 20 minutes. He said that all religious places would be supplied with a free-of-charge solar power unit generating 5 kilowatts of electricity, and those solar power units will be provided within a period of 3 months under an Indian credit line facility. MP Tissa Tanaka says government is taking steps to postpone local government elections. He said that the government would do anything to avoid elections since they fear to face it. Samagi Janabalawege is ready to face any election at any time. Mr. Tanaka expressed confidence that coming year it would be possible to fulfill people's aspirations by overcoming economic difficulties. General Secretary of United National Party, Partitharange Bandara, says that the party expects to send educated, knowledgeable and disciplined individuals to local authorities. He said this at a press conference held today at Sirikota party headquarters. It is vital to conduct presidential elections at the first instance that would be possible by the Constitution. Provincial councils function without people's representatives for a long period. He noted people of this country shall entrust their confidence on the President. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, Minister of Tourism Harin Fernandez says that 701,331 tourists visited Sri Lanka between January 2022 and December 26th of this year. He said the government expects tourist arrivals to reach 720,000 by the end of 2022. A total of 73,314 tourists have visited Sri Lanka as of yesterday. The tourism minister further said that a considerable number of tourists are scheduled to visit Sri Lanka in January and February next year. Experts committee appointed to draft a national agricultural policy informed Minister Mahinda Amaravira that the task is accomplished. The minister had advised the committee to consult proposals and suggestions from all stakeholders in preparation of policy. The final draft has to be presented to the Parliament for approval. Ultimately, the new agricultural policy shall be followed by all. The latest World Bank assessment said Sri Lanka was ranked 7th among the 10 countries with the highest food price inflation in the world. According to the report, Zimbabwe, Lebanon, Venezuela, Turkey, Argentina and Iran ranked among the first 6 countries in the assessment. The World Bank said that the domestic food price inflation remained high around the world. The Ministry of Livestock Development has initiated several programs to cater to protein needs of the country. State Minister D.B. Herod said they intend to increase the production of fresh milk and promote consumption of meat while providing necessary relief to the farmers. And that concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to the main news story. Head of the Epidemiology Department of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Samhita Ginige, says, since the risk of COVID-19 has not gone away globally, the virus can spread in Sri Lanka at any time and it is necessary to get anti-COVID vaccines to protect against the virus. He said that no matter what kind of COVID-19 virus variant is prevalent, if people follow the basic health habits such as wearing a face mask, washing their hands regularly and keeping a distance, people can protect themselves from the virus. And that came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year with CIB, with special gifts, discounts and easy payment schemes available till 31st of December. Come to CIB today. In Watch Life this evening, according to residents, some of the tsunami early warning towers located in the coastal areas in the south are not functioning. People say that towers near Galltown, Peralia and Hikadua are not functioning at present. They urge the authorities to look into the issue and make the towers function again. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news is next. Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year with CIB, with special gifts, discounts and easy payment schemes available till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to the bulletin of world news, first the headlines. Serbia puts troops on high alert over rising tension with Kosovo. Taiwan extends mandatory military service. The U.S. winter storm traps New York State residents in cars. Now the world news in detail. The Serbian army says it is at its highest level of combat readiness after weeks of escalating tensions between Serbia and Kosovo. President Aleksandar Vučić says he will take all measures to protect the people and preserve Serbia. The saber rattling is louder than ever and follows media claims that Pristina is preparing an attack on ethnic Serb areas in North Kosovo. The government in Pristina has made no comment about the allegations. President Tsai Ing-wen has said Taiwan will extend mandatory military service from 4 months to 1 year. The decision comes amid growing tensions with China, which claims the self-ruled island as its territory. Speaking at a press conference today, President Tsai announced new plans to boost Taiwan's defense in the event of an attack from Beijing. At least 28 people have died in western New York State, most of them in Buffalo, as a monster winter storm continues to batter North America. A state official said some people had been trapped in cars for more than 2 days during what was probably the worst storm of their lifetime. Up to 9 more inches of snow are expected in parts of the state today. The storm, stretching from Canada to the Mexican border, has killed 56 people. To conclude this bulletin of world news, headlines once again. Serbia puts troops on high alert over rising tensions with Kosovo. Taiwan extends mandatory military service. And the U.S. winter storm traps New York State residents in cars. And that concludes world news.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News.
In development news, a number of projects in the Hambantota International Ports Industrial Park are nearing completion, marking 2022 as the year of construction. In spite of a certain slowdown during COVID-19, this international industrial park has secured over 40 projects from over 8 countries and has emerged stronger as ever, adhering to the HIP speed concept on construction and to meet deadlines. And that was development news. Moving on to sports, it's cricket. Opener David Warner retired on 200 after tea on day 2 of his 100th test as Australia built a big lead over South Africa in Melbourne. The 36-year-old struggled with cramp and exhaustion in the heat and had to be helped off the field. Warner put on 239 for the third wicket, with Steve Smith as Australia ended the day on 386 for 3 with a lead of 197 runs. He could return to the crease on day 3 if he is fit enough to bat. The 254-ball knock included 16 fours as well as 2 sixes of Keshav Maharaj. It was his third double century, his 25th 100 and his first ton in nearly 3 years. Australia leads the 3-match series 1-0 after a 6-wicket win in the first test in Brisbane. And that was Sports News.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, Test My Users, a product by Cyberlabs Services Private Limited, won the Merit Award in the 21st Asia Pacific ICT Alliance Awards 2022 held in Islamabad under the category Security Solutions in Business Services by competing with 17 countries of the Asia. The Asia Pacific ICT Awards are the most prominent awards in the ICT industry, with their aim to provide recognition to software and service applications that have been developed in the Asia Pacific region. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Economic news, courtesy of
For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first, and this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC, imagine the possibilities.
In economic news, Sri Lanka's 9-month government revenue this year rose compared to last year's levels as the economy inflated amid the runaway prices and tax revenues started flowing as a result of the hike in the indirect taxes such as the value added came into effect from June. The central bank data showed that the government collected 1,450.4 billion rupees in the 9 months compared to 1,052.2 billion rupees in the same period last year. And that was economic news. The weather report is next.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
Weather Report.
And finally, moving on to the weather report, the Met Department says several spells of light showers will occur in the northern, north central and eastern provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur in few places in the western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Matara districts during the night. And that was the weather report. And to conclude this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. 3 shipments of coal are scheduled to arrive in the country early next month. Samagi Janabalawege accuses the government of trying to postpone local government elections. United National Party says that the party expects to send educated individuals to local authorities. Over 701,331 tourists visited Sri Lanka between January to December this year. The experts committee completes the draft of the National Agricultural Policy. In news overseas, Serbia puts troops on high alert over rising tensions with Kosovo. And with that, we conclude this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.